Welcome everybody, I'm RJ of the Nerdy Brew, and here on this channel we talk TV, movies, and everything in between, all while drinking a cup of coffee. Now if you like one of those things or all of those things, why don't you consider subscribing and hit that notification bell and becoming a fellow Brewster. So today, fellow Brewsters, this is another top 10. This is a lackadaisical kind of show where I'll just talk about top 10 things that of my enjoyment. And none of these are empirical facts or went by voting. It's just my flavor that I wanted to just dash with y'all right quick. And so this is top 10 shows of 2021. So we'll start off with number 10. My number 10 is Blind Spotting. Now, Blind Spotting premiered on Stars this past summer of 2021, and it is a continuation series of the movie of Blind Spotting of the same name. So the movie takes place in Oakland, where these two dudes, one played by Daveed Diggs, Rafael Casal is his friend, and Rafael is crazy and Daveed is just out of jail, and he has like 3 days left or a day left. He's got a shorter period amount of time left on probation and or parole, and he's just trying to execute it smoothly. He sees a cop kill an unarmed black man, and it deals with his trauma, and he's trying to navigate through the night. And that's what the movie is about, and the movie was my top 3 of 2018. And the show is continuing the story, but it's from the perspective of Ashley, and Ashley was Rafael Casal's wife or woman relationship person that they had together, and they had their own relationship, and in his show, or the show, Rafael, he goes to jail. The consequences of him going to jail is Ashley trying to deal with it and her trying to maneuver with their son. So now she's a single mother trying to explain or navigate with her son their new circumstances. And not only that, with the show, it's also very visual, where it breaks down a lot of set pieces or art pieces of just people dancing or song numbers to convey their emotion. And it was the same thing with the movie, and I just appreciate the artistry that they put into the show. And Blind Spotting was my number 10. My number 9 is Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Now, with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I'm gonna tell you what I loved about it. I'm gonna keep it quick. What I loved about Falcon and the Winter Soldier is not that it was just a political spy thriller. It also dealt with issues regarding the government, the military, and black people. And, you know, there's a lot of trauma between our vets in real life that don't get addressed. There is a lot of classism and division that life just keeps moving on. So that's why I appreciated Carly's message, who was part of the Flag Smashers. That was the antagonistic group that was inside Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Then we had Isaiah Washington, of also being an older vet.
Really, nigga?
That gave his life to the military, but he couldn't get his life back. And those are real circumstances with our vets that they go through. And I just very much appreciate the show for highlighting that. And not only that, it had great action pieces, especially the first when he flies in through the canyon as Falcon. It just shows that he's just capable as himself. And then not only that, I love the message of him becoming Captain America, and it just shows in a place that black men are capable to represent more than just stereotypical things. What I mean by that is, you know, someone who's part of criminality or someone who's an athlete, and nothing is wrong with making a living and scratching and surviving and making it to the next day. But just to be symbolic to multiple viewpoints of people, that's a very good message that they instilled in that show. So that's my number 9. My number 8 is Kin. Ken premiered on AMC Plus. I have all of those. And Ken starred Charlie Cox of Daredevil fame. And the show is, he's part of this gangster family. He comes right out of jail. And with him coming into jail, he also has a daughter. But because he's out of jail, he doesn't have all the privileges allowed from the courts to be in his daughter's life at the time. And they also have a dark history that they share between one another as well. So their relationship, not only from the courts is strained, but their own relationship with their family dynamic is strained too. And he's part of this criminal family, and his criminal family is waging war on a bigger gangster. So it puts them against the wall, and because he's a man that is very dutiful and loyal, he is tied to his family. But one thing that he has a trouble with is that he is epileptic, and with him being epileptic, how are you going to be, you know, someone trying to maneuver through that world successfully when you got a disability? And Charlie Cox just knows how to play people with disabilities well. And that is my number 8 pick of Ken on AMC Plus. I recommend you watch that. Number 7 is The Lost Symbol. Lost Symbol was on Peacock. Now that show is a prequel series to all the other Dan Brown series of the Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons. And it follows Robert Langston on another mystery where he gets wrapped up in finding a weapon, but the weapon is tied to artifacts that are biblical, also tied with the Freemasons. And you just go on this adventure, and the villain is Malak, the Hebrew word for angel. I may be pronouncing it wrong, but yeah, it's the Hebrew word for angel. And he's the villain. He's tatted up, and he's just a force of nature, and he is the reason for the problems. And his plan is well executed and thought out, and there's good twist in that show. And I was lukewarm from the first 3 episodes, but as the show continued to go on, it grew to be a solid series in itself, and I hope for a season 2. So my number 7 is The Lost Symbol. Now my number 6 is Mar of Easttown. And with Mar of Easttown stars Kate Winslet, and she plays this woman named Mar, who's a high-ranking police officer, and she's involved in this small community of Easttown, and there is a crime of missing girls. And what I like about the show is Mar is a single woman, and she's dealing with divorce, and she's also dealing with custody and arrangements and the father moving on, and she's trying to navigate dating in her own life. And the thing is, and she still has her job with the case. So my thing is saying this is that she is just a regular woman. That's why I appreciated the show. She's not tough as nails. She's not uber alpha, you know, personality. She's a woman. She gets hurt. She gets hurt in the show, and they keep the injuries throughout the show. She's not just overcompensating inside a man's world. She's a woman just living in the world. And I just appreciate how grounded it was. It's very nuanced, and it pays attention to emotions. And not only that, it pays attention to emotions, it's also dealing with the crime that's at hand with these missing girls. So I definitely love the show. I love watching it all the way through, and I recommend that show. So my number 5 is Mayor of Kingstown, not Mar of Easttown, but Mayor of Kingstown, and it's on Paramount Plus, and it stars Jeremy Renner. Now Jeremy Renner is his character, he's part of a family business, are mediators between police, correctional officers, and the gangs. And with him being a mediator, they all have their own things that they're asking for to maneuver in a way where it's not so clean, but it's trying to be amicable to everyone. And Jeremy Renner is just tied in this world, and he's nobody to, he's somebody who's very capable, and he will take it there, if he needs to, but it's just him navigating through these major problems. There is his co-star, who's this woman, I can't remember her name. She's a young actress inside the show, and their story is tied together, and she's tied to gangsters that are trying to manipulate the system for their ways based on them, but he's somebody that's not bending. And it's on Paramount Plus. It's an ongoing series right now. It's only like 2 episodes left until the season finale, but I definitely recommend that show highly. It's one of my favorites, and that's why I made it to my top 5. Number 4, Invincible. Invincible is my number 4. I watched it just like everyone else. I didn't have any comic book ties to the show. And we know how the show was, and I loved everything dealing with that show and how the show was very honest in its storytelling. I'm gonna just say that. And with it being honest in its storytelling, and super visual in the animation and crisp in the animation, turned out to be an amazing show. And because how good the show was, right after the show ended, I read the entire series, all 155 issues. I wanted to know what's next, and I kid you not, we're in for a great surprise, great twists, great turns, great storytelling, and still more brutality throughout the rest of the show. So I definitely put that as my number 4, made it in my top 5. It's an amazing show, and I hope you watch it. Number 3 is Heels. It's starring Oliver Queen and Bjorn Ironside, and these two are brothers in Podunk town of a wrestling league that their father had started. And with that, I have my coffee right here, and with that, it's them trying to one-up each other, also have a fine legacy of their father's league. It's on Stars. It was my favorite show for a long time. When it premiered, I loved it. And it's really heavy on the family dynamic of struggling and trying to redeem each other, and also trying to mend what brotherhood is. And it goes with even the wrestlers as well, of like goals, aspirations, who stands in the way with that. How do you get to that way? How do you have that journey in that way with all of these different obstacles that are thrown at you? So it's a very solid and good show. My number 2, Loki. Loki, what I loved about Loki was Loki from the 2012, and what I liked about it was definitely a lot of transformational work with Loki. I love the visuals of the show, and I love the ending of the show where it was a giant revelation, and it also dealt with a lot of consequences. But I like that Loki went through the adventures that he went through, where he could end up discovering who it was to be a well-rounded person, and also to literally love himself. I love the underlying themes that it had within the show, and I loved what it turned out to be. And so my number 2 is Loki. My number 1, I already made a video about it. It was my favorite show, and there's a lot of reasons why it was my favorite number 1 show, but my number 1 is Superman and Lois. And why Superman and Lois is my favorite show that premiered in 2021 was that it changed the dynamic of their relationship between Superman and Lois. It wasn't will they, won't they. They have the episode on their backstory of how they got in a relationship with each other. But, and it was a different twist that we haven't seen before, and I valued that. But it's Superman. Superman, to me, there's always nostalgia. There's always a piece of loyalty in my heart to the character of Superman. And with me, you know, loving the character himself, they just did something different where he is Superman, right? The most idealistic, hopeful, most powerful superhero. How is he gonna manage with two young boys, one dealing with powers. They're both hormonal. They're both dealing with high school issues. Now that is new territory for Superman. And they also put a twist in the villain. And if I was to say anything about the villain, it would be a major spoiler. But I will say, the actor who played him, who was also in Tyrant, he just killed it. He just killed the role, the introspective work that everyone had to go through. It was just very heavy and very needed. So those were my top 10 shows of 2021. Let me know any of your shows that you enjoyed throughout the year. And that's it. Just let me know down in the comments below. And I want everyone to be safe for the rest of the year while we go into 2022. I don't know if I'm gonna drop anything else. I might take a break. You never know. These things, it is what it is. But at that being said, I'm gonna bring this video to an end. And I want you to be you, do you, see the bigger picture. Have a fantastic day because you deserve it. This is that channel. Peace.